Guys, welcome into Talking SEC, and we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. We are 9 minutes away from Auburn and LSU kicking off. We got a great game going on coming down the stretch with Kentucky, Florida. We are in the third quarter with Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Vandy, and UConn. This may be the last time I mention this game. Vandy is up right before we get ready to go into halftime, 17-16. We had some earlier action with the number one and number two ranked teams in all of college football. Kentucky is still up. Florida just kicked a field goal to bring that to a one-score ball game. Guys, this is Talking SEC on Mark Rogers TV. My name is Kenneth. I am from the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network. And as we like to say on our podcast, all aboard. So we got the chat lines open. And I'm going to be here with you for the next 118 minutes. So let's get into it. Guys, I'm going to spend a lot of time on what we saw from the University of Georgia and the University of Alabama. But I'm going to start off here because probably not going to talk a lot about this game the rest of the night. South Carolina getting a much-needed win against the University of Troy, 23-14. Luke Doty, 20 for 34, 255 yards, one touchdown in that ball game. Much-needed win for Shane Beamer and his team there for South Carolina. And Kentucky's trying to salt this game away. We got third down and about 3 on Kentucky's. Let's see if I can get an update on the field position on the Kentucky 33-yard line. Tennessee, absolutely. Guys, look, if you're just catching this, I don't know what size shoe Smokey, their mascot, wears, but they took a 62-inch boot and absolutely boat raced Missouri. Guys, this game wasn't close from the word go in this ball game. Kentucky, just an idiotic play call. Why would you throw it on 3rd and 2 if you're Kentucky? Just a dumb call. They're going to punt the ball back to Florida with a chance to tie this ball game up on just a bad play call. When your quarterback is struggling as bad as Will Levis, you just run it, and not only do you stop the clock, but now you have to punt the ball back to Florida. Just a horrendous play call there by the offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen. And Florida's going to have this ball back around the 37-yard line, 4.5 minutes left to go. Guys, this is the ball game right here. Getting back to that Tennessee-Missouri game, just a horrendous performance by Missouri. Missouri drops to 2-3 overall, 0-2 in the SEC. Tennessee goes to 3-2, 1-1 in the SEC. This game at the end of the first quarter was 28-3. Evans, the running back for Tennessee, had a fantastic game. 15 carries, 156 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. Just a tremendous performance here. And I'll get to the Alabama game here and the Georgia game here in a minute, but Florida's already across midfield. One pass play to Gamble, and they are inside the Kentucky 45-yard line. Okay, sorry, ball at the 47. As we tick now to right around 4 minutes left to go in this ball game. Emory Jones stays in the pocket. Completed pass to Copeland down to the Kentucky 29-yard line. Like I said, just a horrendous play call there by Kentucky. And if they somehow hold on to win this game, it is not due to that play call whatsoever. Horrible throw there by Emory Jones. Should have been an easy completion to get that ball inside the red zone there. This is what happens when you have a quarterback who has accuracy issues the way Emory Jones has. But Emory Jones is going to close this ball game out. You're not going to see Anthony Richardson, I think, for the rest of this ball game. It's all on Emory Jones at this point. Kentucky, you got to heat him up. Got to heat him up here. And Kentucky's still playing this soft coverage like they got a double-digit lead. They don't. Florida is now right at the 20-yard line. Big pass completion by Copeland. This soft coverage that Kentucky's playing, it's fundamentally wrong on every single level. Are we going to see a repeat here from the Virginia-Miami game a couple of nights ago, where Virginia was in play to win that game? Miami's driving, misses the last-second field goal. Is that what we're going to see here, where Kentucky's playing for Florida to tie this ball game up and then win it on a final field goal? And while we got an injured player coming off the field for Kentucky, Mississippi State up 17-3 halfway through the third quarter. Mississippi State has the ball inside the Texas A&M 45-yard line. Emory Jones with a delayed run, first and goal, ball inside the 10-yard line. Here we go. Clock just ticked under 3 minutes here. All right, second and goal. This clock keeps ticking. We're already down to 2 minutes left to go in this ball game. And of course, this is 4-down territory. So, okay, run by Emory Jones to get this ball down to about the 6-yard line. We got a minute and a half left. That should have been a false start on Florida. It was. that was a big false start against Florida there, because now it basically puts them in a passing situation here. Guys, it is 3rd and goal. Ball on the 10-yard line. 1 minute, 20 seconds and counting. Florida has all their timeouts, it looks like. Why aren't they using? Okay, here's the ball game, guys. 4th and goal. Minute left to go in this ball game. Okay, what are they calling here? Okay. Oh my God, they just called Kentucky for a face mask. Yeah, that was a good call. Didn't see it at first when it was live, but that is a big time mistake by Kentucky. Gives Florida a new set of downs, and that could be very significant here as this game ticks down. Ball at the 5-yard line for Florida. Expect a run here. And Copeland knee was down on that pass. Why isn't Florida using their timeouts? That is shocking. Okay, Copeland knee was clearly down at the 9-yard line on that screenplay. So this is crazy. Okay, Florida finally takes the time. No, this play is under review, but Copeland knee is clearly down. Mississippi State goes in off of Will Rogers' pass, 20-yard pass to Pope to go up 24-13 on Texas A&M. And guys, I've said this on my show. I've said this on every show that I've been on. A race for the bottom in the SEC West is taking place. And what we have now is a round robin between Texas A&M, Mississippi State, LSU, and Auburn. Who's going to finish in the bottom 4 of the SEC West? Because all of these teams are really struggling right now. And Mississippi State just lost to Auburn last week. Auburn is playing LSU. Texas A&M is facing Mississippi State right now. So we're by the end of tonight, we'll have a better indication of how the bottom 4 of the SEC is going to finish. All right, 41 seconds left to go. Ball on the 9-yard line. 2nd and goal. Clock will start on the whistle. Excellent decision there by the ref. I don't understand what Florida's doing with their timeouts. I mean, you don't get to use them next week. That's a false start on Florida right there. Florida is literally shooting themselves in the foot and in the head with the way that they've managed this final possession here. I mean, this is bad clock management on Dan Mullen. I mean, you can call him a quarterback whisperer and a quarterback guru, but his in-game management right now, absolutely atrocious. Florida finally takes their first time out in the second half with 31 seconds left to go. 8 false start penalties. Thank you for ESPN for putting up that graphic. 8 false start penalties on the Florida Gators tonight. That's undisciplined there. I mean, having 2 false start penalties in the game is too many. And to have that many, and thanks for the graphics team for putting up this graphic. Kentucky in their last 34 games against the University of Florida is 1-33. They just snapped a long losing streak in Gainesville a couple of years ago. They're looking to break this losing streak versus the Florida Gators in Kroger Field here tonight. Storm the field and pay the $250,000 fine if you get the win. I mean, it's absolutely worth it for this program to end such a long losing streak at home to a divisional opponent. Okay, so let's reset real quick here. Ball on the 14-yard line. Florida, second and goal here. Emory Jones delayed quarterback run, barely gets anything. We'll see if Florida takes the timeout. Dan Mullen does. 1 timeout left, 27 seconds left to go in the ball game. Jet, hey, welcome in, my friend. Both teams are trying to give it away, it seems. The way this game has gone, and you know what? I got to be honest with you. A lot of questionable decisions here in this ball game. And guys, I'm going to get to the Alabama Ole Miss game. Trust me on that. I'm going to get to the Georgia-Arkansas game. Don't worry. I'm going to have a long conversation about what we saw in that Alabama Ole Miss game. Here's a preview. If you're a fan of Ole Miss or you like Lane Kiffin, you might not want to listen. It's going to be brutal. I'm just telling you, it's going to be absolutely brutal. Good fundamental tackling there. Good fundamental tackling. This Georgia defense, Jet, is the best since 1992, maybe the best ever. I'm not going to go anywhere near that. This front seven for Georgia is absolutely elite. But to compare them to the 92 Alabama Crimson Tide defense, no, they're not in that discussion. No. And the reason I say that they're not, the difference is the secondary. That secondary for Alabama had George Teague and Antonio Langham. Let me promise you, there's not a corner on Georgia's roster better than Antonio Langham. There's not a safety on Georgia's roster that's better than George Teague. No. If you want to say the front seven, okay, I'll put them in the conversation with the 2015 Alabama team, which is by all accounts one of the best defenses in college football history. But I'm not going to go that far. When they beat South Carolina, a Clemson team who can't throw the ball on anybody, and Vanderbilt. No, I respect what you're saying, Jet, but I'm not going to go. I'm not going to even remotely go there. Here's the ball game. 4th and goal. Kentucky breaks it up, strike up the band, get a 15-yard penalty, celebrate Kentucky. Guys, I am going to pat myself on the back. I'm going to pat my team on the back. We said that this Kentucky team was going to beat Florida and they were going to finish second in the SEC East. Kentucky will go to 5-0, 3-0 in the SEC, and they will have a leg up on Florida, who now has 2 conference losses, one of them being to Kentucky. This is why we spent 9 months worth of research. Credit to my team. I'm going to give them a shout out. I know this is Mark Rogers, but I'm going to give my team a shout out. Brittany, Summer, Billy. Fantastic job by all of you. We were absolutely spot on with this Kentucky team. Will Levis, they're winning in spite of, not because of. Blocked field goal for a touchdown. Hit the huge play to Wan'Dale Robinson for a touchdown, but take a knee, Mark Stoops. You are the SEC head coach of the year. Shut it down. All respect to Coach Sam Pittman and what he's done in Arkansas, but what Mark Stoops is doing at Kentucky should end this Coach of the Year conversation right now in the SEC. And there it is. Kentucky takes the knee. Dan Mullen, questionable decision-making here in this last series. Kentucky storm the field, get the $250,000 fine from the SEC office there in Birmingham, and absolutely just go crazy. Oh, absolutely. And this Kentucky team, I don't know if you watched the game, but even after that Will Levis turnover in the second half, Kentucky absolutely bowed their neck, stopped them, forced a fourth down, forced a field goal attempt. That was the field goal that they blocked, returned it for a touchdown, that being the difference in this ball game. So excellent work there by the Kentucky Wildcats. Like I said, I could not be prouder of my team for being spot on with this prediction. And that game against LSU next week, guys, if you're not already listening to the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network, I'm going to pop that up here for just a moment. Give us a follow on Twitter at Crunch Time VIP. Go to our website at www.crunchtimesportsadvantage.com. You can find all of our podcasts if you scroll all the way to the bottom and just click on the link for all of our podcasts. You can also get all of our podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, and a host of other places. And I can't thank Mark Rogers enough for allowing me to host this show on his SEC channel and just give a plug to what we're doing over there at the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network. So thank you, Mark, for that. We'll always be grateful for you allowing that for our team. Like I said, just a fantastic win there by Kentucky. 20-13. Tremendous performance. Just a tremendous performance there. Texas A&M just scored a touchdown, failed on a 2-point conversion. Guys, we got about 1:18 left to go in this ball game. New score: Mississippi State 24, Texas A&M 19. Jeff, you got to give credit to this Kentucky defense. This Kentucky defense absolutely played with a lot of heart, a lot of integrity in this ball game, and just really a credit and a testament to that team. Uh, just flipped over, so we got a score in the LSU Auburn game. LSU is up 7-0. We're about halfway through the first quarter here. Um, Bo Nix is starting quarterback for the Auburn Tigers. The same Bo Nix that got pulled against Georgia State last week, and TJ Finley had to come in and literally save their bacon. Whoa. Okay, let's get into and I'm sorry, I'm just getting some message here from some very happy University of Kentucky fans. Like I said, tremendous job there. Let's get started with what we saw in Athens, Georgia. The Georgia Bulldogs shut out the number 8 Arkansas Razorbacks, 37-0. Stetson Bennett, 7 for 11, 72 yards. This ball game was over in the first quarter when Georgia went up 21-0 after blocking a punt and falling on it in the end zone to go up 21-0, and basically took the air out of the ball for the rest of the ball game. Let's take a look at the box scores of that game here. Let's see if I can get that pulled up here, guys. Give me just a moment, and I'll put your comment back up here in just a moment. Okay, so no surprise here when Georgia went up 21-0 to go in the first quarter that Georgia would look to run the ball to start to try to establish a running game. Bo Nix scrambles there for a first down. Guys, we're about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter here. And I'm trying to get an update real quick, guys, on an injury that was just passed off to me. So please bear with me here. Okay. I'll get to that injury there for the University of Alabama to Jace McCullen. Really bad injury there. He may be lost for the season. So I'll wait to get confirmation on that. But from what I'm hearing, that knee injury did not look good. So hopefully, I'm pretty sure he's going to get an MRI either tomorrow or Monday, depending on how bad the swelling is. Let's talk about this Georgia running game here. 56 rushing attempts, 273 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, 3 rushing touchdowns. Guys, going into this contest, I said that KJ Jefferson, despite what Arkansas told you, that knee was not healthy. You could see it when he was scrambling, and it was as soon as you saw that, you knew that Arkansas had no chance in this ball game. Arkansas was basically one-dimensional, and if you're going to be one-dimensional against the University of Georgia, the one thing you absolutely cannot do is try to run east and west against a team that has that kind of speed at both the defensive line and the linebacker position. Kendall Browse called a horrible game. I mean, horrible game. Why are you trying to run jet sweeps against a team that has better athletes than you at the University of Arkansas. Thought it was a horrible job there. This Georgia defensive front seven is the best in the country. They held Arkansas to 29 rushing attempts, 75 yards, 2.6 yards per rush. The thinking was if there was any team that could figure out a way to run against this Georgia Bulldog front, it would be their former offensive line coach and Sam Pittman. That did not happen, and boy, it was not even close. And Mike, I'm gonna put your comments up here. And everybody else, I'm gonna grab their comments as well. Go to look. Stetson Bennett did exactly what the game plan called for. Not turn the ball over, especially getting out to such a big lead early. Georgia was going to milk the clock. They wanted to get out of there, one, completely healthy, two, without any significant injuries. And I think from the injury standpoint, they were able to do that. But they wanted to establish the run in this ball game. I thought excellent job by Todd Monken, especially once they got a lead, to absolutely maintain that. I'm trying to pull up the defensive stats here for Georgia. Okay. Special teams touchdown. 7 tackles for loss. 4 sacks. Got to give a lot of credit, man. Nakobe Dean is playing like a guy who wants to be a high draft pick in the very near future. What you're not going to see from any opponent left on Georgia's regular season schedule is any team with any semblance of a passing game. If you just watch that Kentucky-Florida game, that Florida passing attack is absolutely pathetic. Neither Anthony Richardson or Emory Jones would scare me from a passing standpoint. And Mike, I'm gonna put your other comment up here, but Alfred, let me pop your comments up here. Okay, so the atmosphere won that game. I would say the atmosphere, along with a high caliber defense for the Kentucky Wildcats, no question about it. If we're going to rank the defenses in the SEC, Georgia, Alabama, but right behind those two, the University of Kentucky. Because unlike Alabama versus Florida, who played a very undisciplined game against Florida, I told everybody all week long that you were not going to see this from that Kentucky defense. Credit to, and let me get their defensive coordinator's name here because I want to give him a lot of credit. Brad White. Brad White called a tremendous ball game from the defensive standpoint. You saw the run fits. You saw the coverage that they played. Fantastic job there. Absolutely, Mike. I'll give you your Go Dogs, no doubt about it. They look fantastic today, guys. I got to talk about this Ole Miss Alabama game. I said all week long that how this game played out would depend on how Lane Kiffin went for it on 4th downs. Coming into this ball game, Ole Miss was 12 for 14 going for it on 4th downs. The first 4th down that they went for it, they were inside the Alabama 10, first possession of the ball game. Instead of taking the points, Lane goes for it. They don't convert. Mistake number one. You always take the points in the first half. Second time they go for it on fourth down. They're right about midfield. I think it was about 4th and 5, 4th and 6. Alabama absolutely stones them, gets the ball back. At that point, I said this ball game was over. Ole Miss could not have 3 failed fourth down conversions. They had all 3 in the first quarter. Just an idiotic coaching performance by Lane Kiffin, Jeff Lebby, anybody else on that offensive staff. Lane said it at halftime when he was asked about it. He said, you live by it, and talking about always going for it on fourth downs, and you die by it. You absolutely died by it today. And guys, don't let that final score fool you, 42-21. This game was not that close. Ole Miss put up 14 points in the fourth quarter, and that last touchdown, completely disregard that. Ole Miss was shut out at halftime. This high-powered offense for the Ole Miss Rebels was shut out in Tuscaloosa at a halftime. Georgia, I don't know if you are good enough to shut down Ole Miss for a complete half the way that Alabama did in this ballgame. Alabama played as fundamentally sound as I thought that they would. I didn't think that Lane Kiffin would, from a head coaching standpoint, coach this poorly in this ballgame. Auburn just missed a field goal. LSU has the ball back at their 35-yard line. Guys, we're already about 2 minutes left to go in the first quarter. LSU is up 7-0. For some reason, Bo Nix is still in the ball game. Here's the stat lines, guys. Alabama 451 yards of total offense. Ole Miss 291 yards. Ole Miss could not run the ball in this ball game. 34 rush attempts, 78 yards, 2.3 yards per rush. That's against a much better team than what Georgia faced today. I'm not taking anything away from Georgia, but that Arkansas team, from a run standpoint, is not in the same class as Ole Miss. Alabama just completely shut them down. We are on a collision course with Alabama and Georgia. We've been on that since the season started. Predictions for Alabama, Georgia, you'll have to tune into the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network to get those predictions. And once we get to the SEC championship game, I will give some predictions on that ball game. Is it the year of the dogs? I will say this, Mike, and thanks for chiming in. Love the interaction with everybody. I'm going to put up everybody's comments here. With Oregon losing to Stanford, that's going to be very significant for the SEC. And I'll tell you why here in just a minute. I'm trying to grab another score here so I can talk about that. Okay, so Oklahoma did hold out to beat Kansas State 37-30. Penn State is up 14-0 over Indiana. And guys, bear with me just a moment. I gotta see if I can find one more score here. Okay, so with Oregon losing, the SEC, unless there's a hiccup, will have two 12-0 teams squaring off in the Mercedes-Benz Dome there in Atlanta. The winner is guaranteed a spot. I think the loser has a chance to go as well. Alfred, grew up a Florida fan. I'm glad you mentioned that. I talked about that at the top of the show. 8 false start penalties, absolutely very undisciplined. Stephen, Ole Miss had not been tested going for 4. Yeah. And here's, and I'll dive into that, Stephen, here for just a second. There's a chart that came out a couple of years ago that basically is analytics driven that says when you should go for it on 4th down based on yardage to go and where you are on the field. Here's what that chart does not tell you. It does not tell you who your opponent is. It's not based on the score of the game, the momentum of the game. It's just a chart. And I know some of those guys that help put some of those charts together. Not one of them has a coaching background or a football background. Hey, Taylor, welcome in. War Eagle. Taylor, I'm gonna pose this question to you. Should Bo Nix be starting in this ball game? Should Bo Nix even be playing in this ball game? Love for your comments. Please put those up. They did not convert. So that first 4th down that they had, they were inside the Alabama 10. Turned it over on downs. Second possession, turnover on downs right at the midfield. Right at midfield. So no, that basically took Ole Miss right out of this ballgame. Alabama, 50 rushes, 210 yards, 4.2 yards per rush. Bryce Young, 20 for 26, 241 yards, a touchdown, 1 INT. Matt Corral, 21 for 29, 213, 1 touchdown, no INTs. Da Vinci says pathetic. I love that. Love that. Jet, I think both of those things could be correct. Yes, sir. I think it was a little bit of desperation, but okay. So Jet, now I will say this: my company, this Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network, is an analytic company, but it's analytics also when you add in almost 40 years of football knowledge. So there is a time and a place for all of that because analytics has been around since the beginning of sports. We just called it something different. It was called stats. All analytics is advanced stats. I mean, that's really all it is. Let's see if Finley is ready to be the starter. And looks like LSU is trying to put another touchdown up on the board here. Scott, you have to say Georgia's defense is far superior than Alabama. No, I'm not going to say that. No, not going to say that. And I'm not taking anything away from that Georgia defense. I've said all season long that this Georgia front 7 is the best in college football, not just the SEC, the best in college football. But I'm going to pull up Georgia opponents here. And you name me one that has a better offense than Ole Miss. All right, give me just a second. Let me pull up Georgia's schedule. Okay, so they beat Clemson. They beat UAB, South Carolina, Vandy, and a one-dimensional Arkansas. I'm not taking anything away from the Georgia defense, but Alabama's played a better schedule. This Clemson team is god awful. I mean, they're god awful, and we are starting to have major questions if Clemson is even going to make a bowl game this year. That's where we are with questions for Clemson right now. Is Clemson good enough to make a bowl game? And with that being the question, how good is that how good is that win over Clemson when Clemson has struggled to move the ball this entire season? They're not a mystery to me. They're just god awful. I mean, they're horrible. Now, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna say this about Georgia, because Georgia's not gonna face an elite passing offense at all during the regular season. We know that Kentucky's passing game is struggling right now. We know that Florida passing game is anemic. You know what, Stephen? Great comment. Going into the season, that was the one game that was the biggest question mark as far as if there was going to be a game in the regular season, Alabama would lose. That would be it. You can say with a lot of confidence now, Alabama's going to run the table as far as the regular season and go on to face Georgia. Both of those two teams should be undefeated. Taylor, yeah, Auburn needs to fix the offensive line. They also need to fix the wide receiver play. And honestly, they need to replace the quarterback. So there are a lot of issues there. A lot of issues. I think if you're playing UAB, a Clemson team that struggled to put up points against anybody at this point, South Carolina has one of the worst offenses in the conference. Vandy is one of the worst teams in college football. Come on, I'm not going to compare this Georgia team to that 92 team. Just never going to do it. I saw that Alabama 92 team. No, I'm not putting this Georgia defense in that same class, because while I'll say this. Looking at the defensive line, Jordan Davis could have started for Alabama. Maybe Nakobe Dean probably could have started on that 92 Alabama team. But let me say this for the record. Georgia does not have a defensive lineman, and I'm not talking about in the interior. I'm talking about defensive end. John Copeland and Eric Curry. Georgia ain't got nobody like that. Georgia has never had anybody like that. David Pollock was really good, but David Pollock ain't no John Copeland and Eric Curry. No. And I promise you, as far as the secondary goes, George Teague, Antonio Langham is better than anything Georgia's had in the secondary under Kirby Smart. No, no, you get no support on that one. Love the feedback, but no, I would say that with absolute certainty. Corral didn't impress as a Heisman candidate. I think Corral was hurt by some bad decision making by his head coach. I think he was tremendously hurt there by some bad decision making by his head coach. So I think we'll have a new Heisman front runner here tomorrow afternoon. I think his name will be Bryce Young. Okay, I got to get that coming up. Scott, this Ole Miss team is still better than anything Georgia's played up until this point. It's not even close. Matt Corral is a better quarterback than DJ at Clemson. And he's the best quarterback that Georgia has faced so far. KJ Jefferson is not a passing quarterback. He's a dual threat, but KJ Jefferson is not a passing quarterback, and that was on full display today. Full display. Thank you, Steve. And like I said, I'm not going to disrespect what Georgia's doing on the defensive side of the ball, but that secondary still has a lot of questions. And JT Daniels just got an update on that oblique injury. JT Daniels is going to miss more than just this week's game. He's questionable for next week's game and the week after that. So we're still going to try to figure out what this Georgia offense is going to look like. Guys, another thought on this Alabama Ole Miss game. Brian Robinson had a career day, 36 carries, 171 yards, and 4 rushing touchdowns. He ran like a man possessed. Okay, update on this LSU game. Looks like LSU is going to be attempting a field goal to go up 10-0 here. If Auburn loses tonight, Taylor, what would their record be moving forward with Harsin? Will Harsin be better than the Gus Bus? Oh, God, no. No, Harsin. Okay, think about this. Gus Malzahn had a couple of wins over Nick Saban. After what you've seen so far, do you trust Brian Harsin to beat Nick Saban? I don't. Brian Harsin is lucky that he didn't lose to Georgia State last week. I thought it was a terrible hire to begin with. Taylor, as an Auburn fan, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Why was it such a big need to move past Gus? Now, I'll let you in on some insider knowledge. Through several sources there at Auburn, the thought was that Auburn would get Hugh Freeze from Liberty. Hugh Freeze is still on double secret probation from the SEC. That's why he wasn't able to get the South Carolina job, the same reason he couldn't get the Tennessee job and couldn't get the Auburn job. For the mess that he left at Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze is still on double secret probation, and no SEC school was going to be able to hire him with the blessing of the commissioner of the SEC. Thank you, Jet. And I was worried about that injury quite a bit. And it's because of what having a Kara Elam allows you to do as a defense. You can basically shut down one side of the field. And Jet, I can't put that comment up. But Elam allows you to shut down one side of the field, and then you can play some unique coverages. Guys, Todd Grantham should have been fired last season. This third and Grantham business, man, this is legit. Okay, this is legit. So I will say this going forward. Florida knows that they're now out of the SEC East division as far as being able to win it. They're already behind Kentucky, and they're already behind they're now behind Kentucky and Georgia. And Wade, I'm gonna put your comments up here. Wade, LSU plays Kentucky. I'm trying to find out real quick where that game is next week. Give me about 30 seconds here, because I want to see if that game, I think that game is in Lexington. That game is in Lexington. Wade, we'll be breaking down that game for sure on our podcast, the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network. I'm going to put that up. Guys, if you would do us the favor and give, if you're not already, Mark Rogers TV a follow, also the show Voice of College Football on Twitter, and also ours at Crunch Time VIP. We are going to break this game down next week. That is the LSU Kentucky game. And honestly, I cannot wait to get into that ball game. Thanks, Wade. Yes, that game is in Lexington. Okay, new score. LSU 10. Auburn nothing. Okay. TJ Finley is now coming into the ball game. Jet, I'll say this, and this was one of the things that we talked about while we had Kentucky finishing second and Florida finishing third. I think you may be on to something. I think inside that locker room, you might start to see some. I won't say problems. What I'll say is you'll see factions start to settle in. And what do I mean? They're going to be the Anthony Richardson guys. They're going to be the Emory Jones fashion. You're going to see this Florida defense have a lot of words for its offense. And I mean a lot of ugly words for its offense. Stephen, how would Georgia fans feel about Kirby if they beat Clemson, Florida, Bama in the same year and do not win a college football championship? I would say, considering that Georgia has not won a national championship in 4 decades, and TJ Finley comes in, throws a dime to the tight end. And what you're watching now is just two undisciplined teams. I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on Kirby Smart to win a national championship this year. The feeling by some Georgia fans that I've talked to, Alabama was supposed to be beatable this year. Clemson's already out. And a dumb penalty there by Auburn. Taylor, if you're watching this ball game, personal foul after getting a big play. I mean, this just reeks of just something that Jimmy Johnson, former coach of the Miami Hurricanes, and of course the Dallas Cowboys. Either you are coaching this kind of behavior or you're allowing it. The personal foul penalties that set you back, like what just happened with Auburn, either you're coaching it or you're allowing it. That's embarrassing. Wait, Kentucky beat LSU 2007. Yes, the goose is loose. I love it, man. I love it. Fantastic there. I said this before the season started, and guys, there is plenty of podcasts on our channel that you can go back and listen to that I predicted along with my team, Summer, Billy, and Brittany. We thought that Kentucky was good enough to finish second in the SEC East. Unless something traumatic happens, that's exactly going to take place. So great job there by Mark Stoops. I said he should be, without a doubt, the SEC Coach of the Year. Oh, absolutely. We've seen this both in college and in the NFL. I'll use an NFL example because this dates back to the 1990s with the Philadelphia Eagles that had that great defense. You're talking about Reggie White, the late Jerome Brown, rest in peace, my brother, Clyde Simmons, Eric Allen. You had a defense that was built to win a Super Bowl, and they could not even reach the Super Bowl. So you could absolutely see that kind of division because this Florida defense tonight gave up 13 points. Actually, yeah, this defense for Florida gave up 13 points because I'm going to put 7 of that on the Florida special teams kicker getting the kick block in return for a touchdown. So when your defense gives up that few of a points, you expect your offense, who has a quarterback guru, an offensive genius in Dan Mullen, to muster more than 13 points. No, this is an embarrassing performance. And I told people coming out of that Alabama game that the mistakes that Alabama made playing hero ball on defense, opening up all of those gaps, you were not going to see that from Kentucky. Kentucky was going to play a very fundamentally sound game. Credit to their defensive coordinator, Brad White, for an excellent job against this Florida run game. Speaking of which, let me pull up the box scores in that ball game now that we have a final. This Florida run game on 39 carries had 171 yards, 4.5 yards per carry. 15 penalties, as my friend mentioned, 115 yards worth of penalties. This is undisciplined. I mean, this is Dan Mullen in a nutshell. And Scott, I'm going to put your comments up here. Absolutely. When your team has 15 penalties, 115 yards, lack of discipline. I can tell you guys, some of my former mentors who were coaches both at the college level and at the NFL level, 15 penalties. Man, no, I wouldn't wish that on anybody as far as who would have to deal with that. No, that's just a horrible coaching job. And Dan Mullen, you got to own that, man. You got to own that. And guys, for any Florida fans that are watching this live or watching the replay later on, and I'll reset here at the top of the hour. I know we're a little bit already past it, but does Dan Mullen agent start leaking Dan Mullen's name to go to the NFL? Yeah. Now, mind you, and I won't say the team, but Dan Mullen agent contacted a team last season right before the LSU game about their team having a vacancy. Talking to a reporter that covers that team, the general manager laughed when they got off the phone. Laughed. Dan Mullen is not a head coach at the NFL level. No, sir. I don't see it, don't buy it, and don't smell it. Nope. Can't go for that. First road game with a big crowd for UF in about 18 months. Can that be blamed? Oh, we saw that when Alabama went down to Florida. Absolutely, the crowd has something to do with false start penalties. I'm talking about the undisciplined penalties, the personal fouls, things like that. But some of those false start penalties, you're not attention to detail. That's not paying attention to detail. And Dan Mullen's coaching that final drive, 3 timeouts. 3 timeouts. He went to the locker room with the timeout in his pocket. That's bad coaching. You had enough timeouts to where you could have put your team in a better position knowing that you had to score a touchdown to force overtime. Yeah, we can put that up. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I talked about that earlier. Kiffin had brain cramps like you wouldn't believe. I mean, like you wouldn't believe. I will tell you there will be a call that Coach Kiffin will hear those exact words about how poor of a job he did. Guys, we're already a little past the top of the hour, so what I like to do is recap some of the earlier action and then give you a live look into games that are currently going on. So give me just a moment here to refresh the screen here as LSU is on the move inside the 15-yard line here. Okay, so earlier action. South Carolina holds off Troy for a 23-14 win. That was a must win for Shane Beamer, no question about it. Luke Doty, player of the game, going 20 for 34, 255 yards with a passing touchdown. Tennessee absolutely laid the country smack down on Missouri. I'm talking about took them behind the woodshed and left bodies back there. 62-24. Guys, that score was 28-3 in the first half. Player of the game, Tyron Evans, running back for Tennessee, 15 carries, 156 on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns. That young man put in some work. We just talked about it. Kentucky upsetting number 10 Florida at home, 20-13 to go. 5-0, 3-0 in the SEC. Player of the game, Chris Rodriguez, 19 carries, 99 yards, including a rushing touchdown. In a top 10 matchup to start the SEC day off, Georgia shut out Arkansas 37-0. KJ Jefferson was not healthy in this ball game. You could see that from the start. That kid gutted it out, but against a superior defense like Georgia wasn't going to be any match. Georgia moves to 5-0, 3-0 in the SEC, and basically has done everything but made reservations to go to Atlanta to likely face the next team that I'm going to talk about. Player of the game for me in this contest, oddly enough, I'm going to go with the Georgia defense. Fantastic performance there by that Georgia defense, blocking a punt for a touchdown and basically shutting down this Arkansas team performance. Great performance. Alabama 42, Ole Miss 21. Guys, that final score was not even that close. Alabama 28-0 at the half. Good night. God bless. Player of the game, Brian Robinson Jr., running back, University of Alabama, 36 carries, 171 yards, guys, 4 rushing touchdowns. Now for a live look in, Mississippi State with a safety. That score with 2 minutes left to go in the ball game. Mississippi State up 26-22. Mississippi State about to get the ball back on that free kick, looking to salt away this ball game and basically put a death knell into the Texas A&M team. Jimbo Fisher will have a conversation next week on the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network podcast. Trust me on that. UConn, Vandy, and what we're calling does anybody care if I give the final score? Okay, guys, tell you what. Fourth quarter just starting. Vandy up 17-16. And in the game of the night, as far as in the late night, LSU 10, Auburn nothing. We are about 9 minutes left to go in the second quarter. So getting ready to head to halftime here. Guys, one final thought. Not an SEC game, but does have SEC implications. With Oregon losing today versus Stanford, you can almost guarantee 2 teams from the SEC will be going to the college football playoffs. As long as Georgia and Alabama do not slip up between now and the SEC championship game, you're going to see 12-0 Alabama, 12-0 Georgia playing for the SEC championship game, but both teams will almost be guaranteed a slot in the college football playoffs. That's a big thing for the SEC. LSU has the ball inside the Auburn 12, 2nd and goal. LSU is looking to basically put this game away here with a touchdown, guys. If LSU scores a touchdown on this drive, you can turn the lights out. I thought the first one, when Ole Miss could have gone up 3-0 in that ball game, playing on the road, I thought for a momentum standpoint, you take the points in the first half. That's been something that one of my former mentors and a terrific head coach taught me a long time ago. It's a philosophy that I've always believed in. Surfer Boy 3000. Florida lost to a football team tonight. That defense for Kentucky is every bit as good and fundamentally sound as Georgia and Alabama. So no, Florida didn't lose to a basketball school tonight. They got whooped by a football team in Lexington, Kentucky. Oh, Rob, that's good there, man. That's good stuff there. On the Bama 5, yeah. You said it. I mean, there's nothing that I need to add to that. I mean, there's analysis and there's just putting it out there. Hey, George, welcome in, man. George, okay, George, I'm going to say that you're a Florida fan. Florida has now lost to Kentucky and Alabama. And do you honestly think that Florida has a snowball's chance of beating Georgia? I don't care who the Georgia quarterback is. The Georgia quarterback could be Uga the mascot. Florida ain't got a shot in that ball game, man. I can go ahead and give you the analysis on that one right now. Do not have a shot in that ball game. Okay, so over the last 25 years, LSU has 3 national championships. Nick Saban, Les Miles, and of course, a couple of years ago with Brady, Chase, Jefferson, all of those guys. Yeah. I can absolutely be serious. You go back and look at how Florida was able to run the ball, and I'm going to put your comments back up here. You go back and look at how Florida was able to run the ball against Alabama. Now, mind you, Alabama played some poor gap assignments in that. This Kentucky defense, oh, you better believe they're every bit as legit as Georgia and Alabama. I will stand on that. Yeah, I will absolutely stand on that. Because ain't a whole lot of teams scoring a whole lot of points on Kentucky. Okay, they gave up 28 to Missouri in a game that they sleptwalked through. They shut down South Carolina just like Georgia did. South Carolina scored 10 points against Kentucky. Florida, 13 points. And you're going to ask me, do I stand on that? Oh, yeah, I definitely stand all the way on that. And that score in College Station just went final. Mississippi State gets the win over Texas A&M. Will Rogers, player of the game, 46 for 59, 408 yards, 3 touchdowns. Guys, Jimbo Fisher is going to have a very bad week. Yeah, very bad week. Georgia hasn't played anybody yet. Okay. I will say this. Georgia can only play who's on their schedule. And they scheduled Clemson. Got to give them credit. They beat Clemson. Now, this Clemson team is not what we thought they were, but all respect to Georgia for playing them. As far as your SEC schedule, man, you can only play who you got on the rotation. And what you have to do in those ball games, if you're playing inferior teams, unlike an Oklahoma, you dominate. We saw Georgia dominate Vanderbilt last week. We saw Georgia dominate Arkansas this morning. Man, you can only play who's on your schedule. Not that you're to poke Georgia. I don't know if that's for me or one of the people in the section. I'm not poking Georgia. I think Georgia is absolutely good enough to get to the college football playoffs based on what they are doing to this point. Now, what Georgia cannot do is Georgia cannot have any slip-ups, because what you want that SEC championship game to be is not a play-in game, but a guarantee game. That's what you want in that contest. You want that game against Alabama 12-0. So Georgia is going to be rooting for Alabama. Alabama's going to be rooting for Georgia, because if both of those teams come into that game undefeated, both teams are going to the college football playoffs. All right. I don't think it's going to be 41 years before Florida wins another national championship, but I do get that. We'll see about that, because this Georgia offensive line, I have not been impressed with. Bo Nix is back in the ball game, so and both quarterbacks are playing horrible. Bo Nix is 5 of 9 for 52 yards. TJ Finley 1 for 4, 35 yards. So LSU's up 13-0. We're just about to tick below 8 minutes left to go in the first half. George, I get that. But for Florida, I think it is imperative for them to figure out what they're going to do with the quarterback spot. Now, George, I will put this comment up here. JT Daniels is the starting quarterback once he's healthy. But Stetson Bennett is not the reason that Georgia lost to Alabama or Florida last year. That Georgia defense was the reason that they lost those 2 ball games. In the second half versus Alabama, the first half against Florida, that Georgia defense in those 4 quarters gave up 59 points. Defense rush, Your Honor. They're going to make it through the rest of this regular season without a loss. I feel pretty good about that statement. He can absolutely get you through the rest of the SEC, the rest of your schedule, because are you really going to lose to Georgia Tech? Are you going to lose to, man? Are you going to lose to Auburn? I mean, I'm watching Auburn right now on the screen, and this Auburn team, bad ain't even the word for it. This Auburn team is one of the worst teams in college football, and it ain't even close. Thank you. You know what? I appreciate everybody who watches the show live or watches the replay. It is my honor and privilege to do this show every Saturday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Central Time. You fans are the reason why I do what I do, not only on my site, the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network, but also coming on here for Mark Rogers TV. So I appreciate those comments. Truly honored to be here with all of you great SEC fans, because we all know that it just doesn't mean more than the SEC, but this is why these teams are held to the standards that they're held to, is because of all of the fans. And Jet, I'll mention that. So Jimbo Fisher just got a contract extension, a pay raise, and he's 0-2 in the SEC. And oh, by the way, guess who comes to College Station next week? Alabama. And if you don't think that comment that he made in a high level booster meeting where he said we're going to beat Alabama's blank, if you don't think that's going to be played in the Alabama complex all week long, let me promise you, it will be. Bo Nix is running around like a chicken with his head cut off. I mean, oh my goodness grief! What in the world, guys? You got to watch this. Flip over right now and just watch this touchdown to Tyler Fromm. This is Johnny Manziel meets Archie Manning meets Fran Tarkenton meets, guys, I don't even have the words to describe what just happened. Bo Nix ran about, and this is not even an exaggeration, guys, Bo Nix may have just ran 50 yards. Surfer, you're watching this, right? Bo Nix probably ran about 50 yards on this play. This is the guys, this is the craziest thing I've seen. Absolutely the craziest thing I have seen tonight. Oh my goodness. Like I said, guys, please do yourself a favor. I'm going to put up everybody's comments. Just go. Guys, this is what, when you're doing the show live and you see this, you look, guys, I am not Eli Gold describing that 2nd and 26 national championship winning play where Tua hits Devontae Smith. I got nothing even remotely close to that. This is what Bo Nix gives you, guys. He's going to give you some of the dumbest decisions, and then he's going to pull off this play where everybody for Auburn falls in love with him all over again. Guys, we got a new score now. 13-7. 4 minutes left to go in the first half. That is incredible, man. That is 100% incredible. And the returner for LSU just got body rocked. I mean, just body rocked. I'm putting up everybody's comments. Guys, just keep them coming. Just keep them coming. Your comments are going to completely drop the show for the next 5 minutes. That hit may have changed the ball game right there. What a fantastic play. Taylor, like I said, I'm not even going to describe what I just saw there. But if Auburn is able to come back and win this game, yeah. Jet, I was just thinking that, man. I promise you, I was literally just thinking that. Was just thinking that. I don't know if it was greatness, but you know what, man? Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And Auburn has not beaten LSU in Death Valley since 1999. Good friend of mine, Cole Kublick, was on that team. Man, that you will see that play on everywhere you turn to, the rest of the weekend. Just fantastic. You know what, man? Hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Can't argue. that is awesome. I'm sorry. That is awesome. Max Johnson is quietly having one heck of a game. 13 for 18, 234 yards in the first half. Woo! Jet, I'm going to get to your comment here in just a second, but you are 100% correct. Jet, Reuben Foster was on the special teams for the University of Alabama when he absolutely laid Leonard Fournette out on a kick return similar to that play that just happened. So, Jet, 100% correct. Reuben Foster gave himself a concussion for knocking out Leonard Fournette in that play. Beautiful. We'll see if the momentum has flipped because right now LSU has already crossed the 50 and looking to put up points right here before halftime. If Auburn is able to hold LSU to a field goal, we could be on to something. You could be on to something. The license plate read knockout. Surfer. License plate read knockout. Boy, what a hit. George, I'm getting some of those same phone calls. Jet, You know what? Give me just a second. Let me pull up Texas A&M schedule. But I love where you're going with that. Okay, so I'm gonna put your comments up here. So Texas A&M just lost to Arkansas last week, Mississippi State tonight. We know what's coming next week against Alabama. The rest of their schedule looks this way: at Missouri, home to South Carolina, home to Auburn, at Ole Miss, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and then closing out the season at LSU. Man, it's gonna be a rough week down in College Station. There's a lot of people I'm connected with that cover that team, that are supporters of that team, that's going to be looking for Jimbo Fisher this week. Oh, James Perry, welcome aboard. Glad to have you on. I said that at the beginning of the show. Storm the field, pay the fine, and just absolutely just go crazy. It was a beautiful scene. Now, I'm not one of these guys that loves to see the court stormed or the field rush like this because of the safety for those players, but this is Kentucky's first home win over Florida in decades. This is huge for that program. So pay the fine. A couple of boosters may write a couple of extra checks this week, but it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. I love seeing it. Taylor, that Auburn defensive line that you're talking about is actually doing a pretty solid job. They're playing a bend but don't break. And so far, LSU only has 13 points in this ball game. So you are still live in this contest. Just play fundamentally sound, get out of this half without giving up any more points. Bo Nix cannot have a turnover here. We saw that against Penn State. Cannot have a turnover here. Run the ball with Tank. You know what? Here's what I want to see. How many times has Auburn ran the ball? Guys, Auburn has 10 rushing attempts for 36 yards. LSU, and I've been saying this all season long, LSU cannot run the ball. 10 attempts, minus 5 yards rushing. Yeah, I got to put that up, man. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Here's the difference, though. Jimbo Fisher is losing a lot right now. Like I said, guys, keep the comments coming. I got you for the next 19 minutes. I want to get as many comments in as possible tonight because this is why we do this show here on Mark Rogers TV. And like I said, each and every week, it is my honor and privilege to do this Talking SEC show every Saturday night. It has truly been wonderful to interact with all of you fantastic SEC fans. And hopefully you'll give our team a follow on Twitter at CrunchTime VIP and check out our website, www.crunchtimesportsadvantage.com. You can find all of our fantastic content and looking forward to interacting with any of you guys on Twitter. Oh my goodness, that is funny. There were some bad calls in favor of Georgia in the ball game too. I'm sorry, for Florida in that ball game. A pass interference call late in the late in the third quarter. Horrible call there. Oh, I got. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's set the stage here for Auburn. Auburn is right about at midfield. We got about a minute 47 left to go in the first half. Auburn, if you're able to put up points here, I'm going to go back and put that momentum swing up comment if I can get to it. Like I said a few minutes ago when you put that comment up, I think you could be onto something right now. If you, that's a good decision there by Shivers. Shivers, get yourself back to the huddle, man. You ain't got to be time to um all right, so clock's ticking. We're finna go under a minute. So Auburn's gonna do, as long as there's no turnover here, Auburn is going to get out of this first half without LSU scoring another touchdown. Okay. And guys, this was the news that I was wanting to pass along. Jace McClellan for the University of Alabama, talented running back, second on the team with 5 rushing touchdowns, suffered a significant knee injury. They will not know the extent of that knee injury until an MRI is done, either sometime tomorrow morning or Monday, depending on the swelling in his knee. Oh, here's Bo Nix with that run around Johnny Manziel play again. This boy is living right this week. Oh, George, with that new extension that he signed, it's not just 90, it's not 50 million. It is a whole lot more than that now. Bo Nix is living right this week, guys. Bo Nix is living right. Oh my guys. As soon as we log off here, please turn over and watch the rest of this game. This is crazy. Georgia ran the ball today. Yeah. Still not with the consistency that you want to see, but Bo Nix is channeling his inner Johnny Manziel. I mean, this is who he like. Yeah, Surfer. Significant injury. I won't say what the fear is, but I will say it's bad. It was bad. Yeah, Kentucky fans should be happy. Like I said, Bo Nix is channeling his Johnny Manziel right now. I mean, the way that Bo Nix is playing right now with some of these plays is a lot like Johnny Manziel the first year that Texas A&M came into the SEC and beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa with some of those crazy off-the-script plays. So this is how Bo Nix is playing after getting benched and coming back in. And if Auburn gets a touchdown in this drive, they are live. I mean, they are absolutely live. All right, we got 24 seconds left to go. 3rd and 4. Auburn, critical to get points out of this drive. It wasn't a knee dislocation from what I understand, but there is some ligament damage. How much so and how severe, won't know for a couple of days. Okay, Auburn, take the field goal here. Go into the half. Only down by 3 if you convert. Okay, guys, this is a big field goal here for Auburn. If they convert and Carlson's on, this should be makeable for him. 49-yard attempt. Right down the middle. We got a new score, guys. 13-10. This game is going to be nip and tuck all the way. Guys, I got you for another 10 minutes. So please continue to put your comments in because Jet, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Like I said, from what I'm hearing, it's not. Whoa, George. Okay. I'll just say this, George, before you do, please consult the team over at the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network. Handicapping college football in the NFL is our wheelhouse. Please bet accordingly. LSU should absolutely take a knee, go into the – I can't put that up. Oh, my goodness. I can't put that one up on the screen, but oh, man. Ooh. Comments are getting kind of it's getting late early, guys. But LSU should absolutely take a knee here. They are going to the half, reset 13-10. Guys, we got a ball game here. We absolutely have a ball game here. And guys, we may be having another development in Clemson, South Carolina. Boston College has the ball at midfield. A minute 41 left to go on the clock. We're going to see if Boston College is able to pull this thing out. Yeah, Coach Kiffin did a terrible job in that ball game. No ifs, ands, and buts about that. My history with Coach Kiffin goes back almost 2 decades, and to see him make this shift all the way from being a coach to now completely driven by analytics to where it's affecting his decision making, it's disappointing. It is disappointing as an analyst, and it's disappointing in somebody who knows how brilliant of a mind Lane Kiffin has at play calling. And to see what I saw on display today, was horrible. I mean, there's no way other way for me to put it. Ole Miss defense is worse than Arkansas. Yeah. Arkansas's got a top 5 defense in the SEC. So I would absolutely say that. But Arkansas's offense is not as good as Ole Miss's either. So we'll see when those two teams match up here in a few weeks. We'll see how those two teams match up because they are going to have to play each other. So going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Okay, guys, I'm gonna start the rundown here. And thanks, Jeff, for putting that up because I'm actually going to be checking in with some of my Pac-12 colleagues as I'll jump on some of their stuff here in just a moment, talking about some of this action. I'm going to go through the top 10 real quick as it's going to have an impact on some SEC teams. Iowa winning last night versus Maryland, 51-14. They're going to remain in the top 5. Cincinnati goes to South Bend, beats Notre Dame 24-13. Oklahoma holds on to beat Kansas State 37-31. Oregon loses this afternoon to Stanford. Number 3 goes down in overtime, 31-24. Penn State up 24-0. That game's about to wrap up here. We're halfway through the fourth quarter. SEC action because we're talking SEC here. Let's run through all the scores one more time really quickly before I say goodnight to all of you. Once again, thank you for tuning in. This has been Kenneth from the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network. It is my privilege to host this show on Mark Rogers TV, talking all things SEC. UConn, 0-5, has just scored a touchdown to take a 28-27 lead over Vanderbilt. Auburn, LSU at the half. LSU 13, Auburn 10. Alabama completely dominated Ole Miss in a top 12 matchup. Brian Robertson Jr., 36 carries, 171 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. Georgia shuts out Arkansas. KJ Jefferson not healthy, neither was JT Daniels. KJ played the entire game. JT Daniels sat out. Stetson Bennett stepped in, went 7 for 11, 72 yards. But the defense for Georgia, once again, the story in this ball game. In the game of the night, proud moment for us over at the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network. We were all over this game all week. We were over it all off season. Kentucky ends the drought versus Florida at home, 20-13. Play of the game, blocked field goal, scoop Score, Kentucky wins. Mississippi State 26. Texas A&M loses their second game in a row, falls to 3-2 overall, 0-2 in conference play. Next week, Alabama comes to College Station. As Keith Jackson would say, the late Keith Jackson would say, oh, Nelly. Will Rogers, 46, 59, 408 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Huge performance by that quarterback. Tennessee takes a baseball bat to Missouri, drags him behind the woodshed, and leaves it for the corner to come pick up. 62-24. Guys, this game was over in the first quarter, 28-3. Tyron Evans, running back, Tennessee, 15 carries, 156 on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns. That young man got it done today. And finally, South Carolina getting a much-needed win over Troy, 23-14. Shane Beamer absolutely needed that. Now goes to 3-2 overall, 2-1 in the SEC. Luke Doty, 20 for 34, 255, 1 passing touchdown. Guys, the SEC is in prime position to get 2 teams in the college football playoffs. As long as Alabama and Georgia take care of business the rest of the regular season, both of those teams, regardless of who wins the SEC championship game, will be in the college football playoffs. Guys, I want to say thank you for tuning in to Talking SEC. On behalf of Mark Rogers TV, my team over at the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network, this is Kenneth signing off. Have a great rest of your night and enjoy the rest of the weekend.